Gen Z is not lazy. We trained them to be resourceful. Now, I know that many of you are going to see that title or going to hear that headline, and you're wondering where we're going with this particular video. Let me tell you exactly where we're going to go. Most of us in Gen X, many of you millennials, particularly you business owners, you business managers, you hiring people, you HR people, you all bring in Gen Z. This is age 14 to 29. That's the Gen Z. But most of you are hiring the young adults. They're coming in, and you think they're all lazy. They stare at their phones. Yes, this is my case. They stare at their phones. They do this. They ignore you, etc. And you wonder why. And you're going, why can't these guys be more like me? Why can't they be more responsible, etc., etc., etc.? Let me tell you something. We trained them. We did. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 58 years old. And let me tell you what we did with our daughters, who are all far more resourceful than I'll ever be. And I bet you, if you think about it, if you have your own kids and they're Gen Z, you did the exact same thing. And if you're Gen Z and you're watching this, hang on until I explain this. Now, ride with me a little bit, my friends, and you're going to see why we're wasting Gen Z. We are not utilizing them to their fullest potential. And it's because we trained them to be this way. We trained them how to be resourceful. So check this out. This generation grew up with social media in ways that the millennials and us Gen Xers did not. We didn't have any of this. My first computer was an Atari 800. I plugged it into my television. I played computer games. In fact, I think my first computer language was BASIC. Okay? We didn't have cell phones. They didn't exist. So, and back in the day, they called people like me hyperactive because there was no ADHD and they didn't know what it was, right? And they said Lou couldn't sit still and Lou didn't pay attention and blah, 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 right? What most of those teachers didn't really understand was that I was needing another way to learn. But when I got to be an adult and I got to be a parent, my patience ran out. And what I needed was time to focus and time to pay attention that my kids didn't provide to me. My kids were a distraction. I hope you appreciate your kids were the same way. So we're driving down the road, or if you're at home or whatever you're doing and you're trying to focus, what's the best way to get your kids to be quiet? Put them in front of a DVD. Or in our case, put them in front of a video. Then came the DVDs. And what did the kids learn to do? They learned to go into their own little world. They learned to watch screens, depending on what they were watching. In our case, we had them watching, my wife grew up in the Soviet Union, so she had them watching old sort of Soviet era cartoons that she grew up on. And so our kids kind of learned the language with that, but they were focusing on that. So we would drive, 8, 9, 10 hours in a car, and each one of my daughters would have their own little DVD player that I bought at Target with their little headphones. And as long as I kept those things charged, they were watching the screen. Then came the advent of the iPhone and the iPad. And remember this, we all gave them these things. And they began to hunt around and look for things. Remember the first time one of your kids said, hey, guess what? I discovered YouTube. And look at these videos. What are these two people doing? Let me just drop for a pause right there, because every single adult knows what I just said. And we all went, in absolute horror and terror. Oh my God, how did you get onto this thing? And so what did we do? We began blocking them. And all my Gen Zers watching this are nodding, going, we figured out how to block your phones. We figured out how to use, Apple or Samsung or whatever the environment was. And we figured out how to put parental controls on everything. On YouTube, on before TikTok, on Facebook, on whatever the hell it was. Remember all those times when they were debating how young you could be before you could actually get your own profile on one of those platforms? Because we as parents were petrified what was going to happen. So we tried to block your access. All of us parents. There are movies made about what they call us helicopter parents, monitoring the kids' phones. Well, what did your kids do? And my Gen Zers watching this, what did you do? You went around us. You figured out how to break almost all of that stuff. You figured out the passwords. You figured out the ways around it. You got together with your friends, and you were all watching YouTube anyway. Okay, I won't tell you some of the stuff my daughters came home and said, guess what, Dad, guess what we saw today? I don't even want to know about it, right? And my thought was like, at one point, you as a parent just throw your hands in the air and you're like, I can't stop this, right? But therein lies the hidden meaning behind this. And therein lies the aha moment. And I kind of discovered this by talking to my own daughter a couple of weeks ago. We're in the car and we're driving around and we're talking about, she's trying to get into med school. Incredibly difficult. She has ADHD and she's, learning. But as we're talking, what's occurring to me is she is more resourceful than I ever was. She can find things. She can look things up. She can dive through. She can dig things. She finds ways around to get to the things she wants. Whether it's information on a medical school, information on the doctors, information on an internship, and whatever the hell it is, she can figure it out faster than I can. Why? Because I trained her to do it. I trained her to go around me when I didn't want her watching YouTube. She wanted to watch it anyway. That's now a skill almost every Gen Zer has. And we Gen Xers and Millennials, we taught it to you by accident. Now, how does that translate to an owner or a manager or a head of a department or an HR person looking at a 22 or 23 or 24, 25-year-old, whatever, and going, you know what, they're lazy, they ignore me, they don't want to work, they watch their phones, they communicate via text, so let them. If that's how they communicate, they're going to bring you in business by talking to the other Gen Zers. Did you forget they work for a living and make money too? And they're going to make come buy your product? Let them frickin' talk to each other. Okay? Let them show us, hey guys, there's a better way to use your ERP. There's a better way to use your software. There's a better way for us to use Salesforce or whatever the hell it is. Okay? Because they're smarter than we are. They're creative. They're clever. Now, maybe they don't have the best communication skills. Again, I blame the phone. And don't misunderstand. All of my daughters want to connect. They all want a boyfriend. They all want to get married. They all want kids. They want the same thing every other Gen Zer wants. Many of them, they were not raised with those skills that us Gen Xers were. And to some degree, the millennials were too, okay? But all of us Gen Xers, we know how to do this. We know how to communicate. We had no choice. We had to communicate. The Gen Zers communicate via text. You ever notice, watch them on the phones and they use their thumbs? Watch me or my wife on a phone sending a text message. Dun, 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 dun. My kids will have gray hair before I finish the damn text. So what did I figure out? I figured out that if I texted on my computer, I could type. Because I'm too stupid to figure it out. Every Gen Zer can do it with the thumbs. And they write paragraphs. I don't know how the hell they do it. They are resourceful. They are smart. They are creative, and we're wasting them because we've all decided they're lazy. They're not lazy. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be utilized for the skills they have. We're just too dumb to figure out how to turn them loose. Okay? So what do I recommend? What do I suggest? For my Gen Zers, including my own daughters, don't give up. We will eventually see how smart you are. I'm a small business owner. I don't have the ability to impact 100 other people yet. Okay? But there are other owners out there who are going to slowly figure this out, and managers who are going to figure out you're not a threat to them, you're an asset to them. You can help them make money. You can help them grow their business. You can help them grow their network, whatever the hell it is. And don't let the fact that you hide behind a phone deter you at all. Maybe show us what you're doing. Teach it to us. Explain to us how it's going to benefit us. We don't even understand it. And yeah, I speak for a lot of Gen Xers. Don't sit there, Gen Xers, and go, no, Lou, no, you don't. No more than I do. Don't waste my time. Yes, we can all quote rock lyrics from the 80s. So? Yes, we can all quote movie lines from the 80s. So? Your kids can make you rich. Your kids will grow a business for you. There's an entire generation out there that we taught how to do it. Maybe by accident, but we need to learn to let them give us the best they have and learn from them and turn them loose. Anyway, that's my little rant today. If you liked it, hey, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, comment, let me know you're out there. I always wait until the end of the video in case anybody sticks around to watch. Sometimes, us content creators, us video makers, we don't know if we're connecting with anybody. We watch the analytics and we hope. But hey, if I connected with you and you dug it, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you.